Major funding for this program was made possible by UPMC. Thank you.
Now the speeding, this is labeled coffee, take 1.
Whenever you're ready, Coach.
I know it's early in the morning, but it's time to go to work. You know, they say one's work ethic is measured only by what you do when no one's looking. I know everybody else may be sleeping right now, but I'm watching you. When I say workout, I want a good workout today, all right? I want some sweat. Keep it going.
I met Billy Gardell before the pandemic, but it was during the pandemic that he reached out to me as we periodically would text back and forth. He asked if I would give him an inspirational video. He was in the process of trying to lose weight. He said he needed something to motivate him. So I put this together.
Push it beyond, a little bit further than when you think you should get off. And you know what? We'll do a little bit further tomorrow. So have a good workout today and tomorrow, or to the next time I send this video. And you know what? If you feel like you can't do it, don't be a jagoff. Don't be a jagoff.
Right.
Okay? Do it.
So,
all right, brother, I love you.
And I do love Billy Gardell. And I said that's why I'm so excited about the idea of being able to meet with him today to talk about his journey. It's pretty inspiring when you think about where he's been and where he's at, and how somehow it always goes back to Pittsburgh. So I'm gonna get ready to go down that memory lane with him about this journey, the challenges, the heights, the lows, but he always goes back to that same theme. Don't be a jagoff and quit. So let's go down that memory lane. Billy, thank you for doing this conversation with myself, because we go back, and I think you just said we met on the NFL Today back around 2010.
Yes, sir. Yeah, 2010, the NFL Today, you guys were nice enough to have me on to do a little sketch. I got to be dressed like a coach and yelling at everybody about what they were doing, and I got to reenact that scene where you were yelling at Lloyd on the sideline. You're like, look, rush the quarterback.
Right.
Look, that was a mistake. You can't wiggle your nose and go back. And we got to do that. I still have that on a DVD. That's a thing, young kids, that you put in a machine. You could watch it whenever you want. It's not in the air. You can hold on to it. But you were so gracious that week, and you knew what a fan I was. And my son was 5 at the time, and he got to run the camera up there, and you guys were so great. And that was where I got to meet you. And then we saw each other at the CBS Upfronts every year, which was really nice. And it's just an honor, Coach.
And I didn't realize that you actually twirled the towel for the 2004 playoff game against the New York Jets, where the kicker O'Brien missed a couple of kicks. So you are absolutely good luck. I mean,
you know what? I am 14-1 in my terrible towel
excuse
twirls.
Me.
No, because as Myron Cope said, the towel has mystical powers, and I believe I brought that. The only loss was to New England, but that was back when they were videotaping. So there's an asterisk on that. There's an asterisk on that. That's under review.
I love it. So let's just go back. You grew up in Swissville.
Yeah. Yes. Harrison Avenue.
We're at Harrison Avenue. So what school what high school would that have been? Because you moved at 9 years old.
Yeah, 9 or 10. We ended up. I went to Dixon Elementary, and then I started in Swissville High at the end of junior high. And then my parents split up, and my mom remarried this guy, took us to Florida, which was, it is what life is life, But what we would do is. We're Yinzers, so in the summertime, we'd do the school year down there, and then my dad would put us on a Greyhound bus, and I don't even think that's legal now, but he put me, my brother, and my sister on a Greyhound in Orlando. We'd ride the bus all the way up to Pittsburgh, and then we'd spend the summer with them, and Pittsburgh summers, you're in them row houses, and there's one air conditioner in one room, so you just stayed in whatever room the window air conditioner was in for the entire day, and then my old man would come home, and I'd get to spend time with him and his wife, who was just lovely. So we would do the summers back in Pittsburgh
Did
like
you
that.
work? Did you work during the summers? Were you working anywhere?
I wasn't old enough just yet. I started working at about 15, because that's a Pittsburgh thing. You need a job. That's the first thing they ask you when they see you working.
100%.
You work? Are you working? Not are you okay? Are you working? Are you working?
Right,
my dad told me before I left for LA, he said the most Pittsburgh thing ever. He goes, well, you ain't pretty, you ain't got no money, and you don't know nobody. You better outwork everyone. That was his advice before I got in the car.
Well, that's being real with you, right? I mean, that's
straight up and down. And I put it in. I put it in because of him.
So when you came back in the summertime, so let me ask you, how many times have you ever gone to Kennywood?
Oh, I'm a Kennywood junkie. I'm the worst. Oh man, I know. I mean, I blow my family out. When we go home, I still go now, and I will go till they shut the park, till they're sweeping up. Yeah. I love it.
What was
that was it.
What was your favorite roller coaster?
I was a Thunderbolt guy, but I was afraid of it for years. I mean, it was like in a movie with little kids. Like I remember when the Thunderbolt, because that was the fastest roller coaster in the country at one time. It's wooden. And you just, it looked like it was going to eat you. You know what I mean? Like it would come around that bend, you're like, that thing's going to eat me. But once I started riding it, that was my favorite. And I used to like the Log Jammer, but then now they put the Steeler roller coaster in the way. I'm not sure how I feel about that. The one that always would make me laugh was Noah's Ark. Yes. Because no one knew what the hell it was. I feel like they put whatever was broken on any other ride in there, and they just turned that into Noah's Ark.
You're 18 years old. You end up going to this open mic comedy club.
Yeah.
Was that your first time of doing stand-up?
I had done stand-up in the 9th grade talent show, and then I had done it, and that went horribly. It just went horribly. And then I did it again in 11th grade, but I knew I wanted to be a performer. And my dad, who was my biggest fan, because my dad wanted to be a animator for Disney. He was a good artist, but he never got to realize his dream. And he was always in my corner, man. He was always like, you can't quit. You got to keep pushing. You got to keep going. And he put that, I always say Pittsburgh and Florida was a good mix for me, because in Pittsburgh, the pride of how you do your work, pride of how you do your work. So like when he said, when you go into this business, spend 5 hours a day reading about the actors you want to be like, watch the films that you want to be in, watch the television stars you want to emulate, and get your own voice from that, but put your time in. And in Florida, I found a drama department in high school with a great teacher who was teaching us, great acting teachers, even in high school. He was teaching us Stanislavski and Meisner. Like, this guy was really ahead of the game. And so I kind of learned to daydream in Florida, but I had my work ethic from Pittsburgh. And those two things really, that's what drove me. That's what really, it still does to this day.
So did you take off from Florida to LA to chase this passion of yours?
I did. I went on stage at December 28th, 1987 for the first time at a professional comedy club. It was called Bonkers. Back then, everything ended with a Z. Nutties, Bonkers, Chucks, whatever. And I went up and did great for like 5 minutes.
Where was Bonkers at?
That was in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
And I thought, oh man, this is for me. And then I was just terrible for like 2 years after that. But I knew when that bug bit me, I knew that was my calling. And what I didn't realize was, I knew at 9 I wanted to be a stand-up and an actor. And I just thought everybody kind of knew what they wanted to be. I thought everybody knew that. And and then you get a little older with your friends who still aren't sure what they want to do. Right. And I didn't realize what a blessing it was to know early exactly what I wanted to do. And then to have my dad in my corner was, that was everything.
So from at what point how old were you when you went to LA?
I started doing stand-up at 17 in Orlando. And then I did about 9 years on the road on the East Coast, just driving gig to gig, no cell phone. You just got an atlas and a matchstick, and you're trying to find your way to gigs. And I drove all over the country on the East Coast, in the Midwest, Northeast, Southeast, did about 10 years there getting good. And then in 96, I guess I was about 25, 26 years old, and I moved out to LA. And then another 10 years later, I got a break for Mike and Molly. So it was 22 years to an overnight success for me.
Where did you meet Patty along the way?
I met Patty and my lovely wife. I met her in Atlanta, Georgia. I saw her 3 times the day I met her. I saw her at a bank in Atlanta. Then I saw her, and she was at the show that night with her sister. Nobody knew who I was. Right. They were just coming out for a night of comedy. And then I'm a jazz fan, and I went over to this little jazz club, and she was in there. So I figured 3 times one day, you got to take a shot, right? So I asked the bartender, I said, well, what is that young lady drinking? And he said some wine I couldn't pronounce, I'm a Yinzer. I said, give me one. So I took it over to her table and I said, hi, I'm Billy. I said, drink this till I'm cute. And I thought that was a great line. I thought I was in, but she looked. But she looked at me and she goes,
she's still drinking today.
Dude, yeah. She looked at me and she goes, I'm going to need another one. I was like, oh, she shot me dead right where I was sitting. And we've been together, forever. We've been together. She stood by my side all the way through.
I think the one thing that I don't want to, this period of time from 18 to 39 to actually when you marry Patty and you're 35 years old or 32 years old and then you had your son 35 until Mike and Molly, you went through some very challenging times. You had sobriety and you're talking about weight gain. Talk about what did you have to rely on? And what was there an upbringing in Pittsburgh? Because I can just say to you, I got knocked down plenty of times. I got cut when I was a player. I remember, sitting there trying to figure out what I want to do with my life, and then I get into coaching and all the disappointments of losing championship games. You kind of just reflect back to your upbringing, like your father did, about being resilient. And when you get knocked down, you know what? You get your ass back up. Just get back up, right?
There's a moment with you that I love more than any other moment, and it was the Super Bowl against Dallas. And I think this speaks to the way we're raised up there. Because it's not that you're not going to fall down. It's what do you do after it? Right. And that was always my pop's thing. What are you going to do now? What now? Okay, my dad used to have a phrase. He'd say, so what, now what? Yeah. So what, now what? Right. Get up. Right. But there's a moment with you that I think most Pittsburghers love you for this more than anything. We had lost to Dallas because O'Donnell threw those 2 picks, right? I'm still mad about that.
There's 3. That's okay.
He made Woodson a star. You never heard that guy's name again. Anyway, but there was this beautiful moment, man. You were literally walking off the field, and your daughters came running up to you, and they were upset about the loss. You just killed me, dude. And they caught you on mic and you said, hey, you win some, you lose some. And to me, that's everything. That's everything a Pittsburgher is. That's the heart and fire of a lion who can look at defeats and go, if that guy can look at defeat like that and start climbing again, then I got no complaints. And that's why you're a huge inspiration. That's why you're a huge inspiration to me.
Well, you know what? It's amazing because I sit there.
Sorry, I cry more than Dick Vermeil. Forgive me, I do.
You are amazing. And I just go back to like what you did. So that's your moment. My moment to me is like when you came to me and you said, I need to lose some weight. Yeah. I said, okay, well, let's work at it. And I remember every text I had from you was like, it's okay, you're still working out, and let me know if you need another video. So I made you that video. And
this is what happened. When you were so gracious to invite me to your Hall of Fame induction, which still kills me that I missed because that was going to be the week of my weight loss surgery. Right. But again, in true coaching and Pittsburgh fashion, you didn't even blink, man. You just said, hey, man, go do what you got to do to get yourself healthy. Right. And then after the surgery, I was still 378 pounds, right? So I'd gotten so big it hurt to go upstairs. And so after the surgery, they tell you, you're still at the weight you're at, but now you got 3 holes in your stomach and they've done the surgery, but they're telling you got to walk 2 miles a day to get your heart rate up and all that. And I said, I need some inspiration. And I called you back and I said, Coach, will you please just make me a 30-second video that I can look at in the morning to get up and go after it. And you sent that video, man, and it was, I just believe you when you speak. And there's an authenticity with you that And you're my coach. Like my dad's coach was no, you're my coach.
Right.
Like I claim you. That's my time.
Right.
From 92 on, that's car power. That's my time. So to have someone in your life that you admire take a moment to inspire you, it meant the world, and you gave me some great advice about let's get up, let's get after it. It's quiet, it's early, it's your time, get after it. Let's push it a little bit more tomorrow. But the thing that sealed the deal was at the end of your video, you go, and don't be a jag-off. Hey, I go, I love this guy.
Hey, on that note, just listen. Let's see what we got.
Pittsburgh, the city of champions, and jag-off.
So
That's a new game show. We're gonna have a new game show.
we have both ends of the spectrum. That's what we have right there. So that's why it's a very culturally it's a great city to be raised in. And I just want you to know your story is very inspiring as well to see where you are today.
Well, you were a part of that, brother, and I appreciate that very much.
So, I mean, you're back doing stand-up again, which I think is so cool, right? I mean, it's the circle of life. Like you kind of come back, right, to what you started doing, right?
Well, and the thing is, man, it's like now look, you've made the transition into the booth,
right,
and you've done it beautifully, just a beautiful job with it. But I don't think Pittsburghers know how to not work.
Right.
I don't think we're no good. Like my wife will tell me even after 3 days, she's like, you got to go do something. You can't clean the kitchen again. You got to go do something. And I think that work ethic, I think it fulfills us. And when I finished my second show, I did Mike and Molly for 5 years, and I did Bob Hartz-Abishola for 5 years, and then I'm sitting around, and I'd gotten healthy, I'd changed my whole appearance and all that. I made myself unrecognizable, so I got them right where I want them, Coach. The whole business went to the internet, nobody recognized me. Okay, let's go. But the idea of getting back up on stage again, I found I had some more to say, and the direction I've been going with my stand-up now is, you know, I got a 22-year-old, and I want to be his coach. I want to be his inspiration, and we're that house where he knows his friends can come over here. We'll shoot him straight, and the idea that I think I see a lot of comics ripping on this generation, and I don't think that does us any good. These kids are all going through what we went through when we grew up. Who am I going to be? Where am I going to live? Am I going to love anyone? Is anyone going to love me? Then you add social media. Then you add the state of the world. These kids don't need anybody ripping on them. They need an adult at the table say, I'm rooting for you. And if you got questions, ask. If I can help you, I will. And I've found a real joy in getting back on stage and talking about that, talking about being married for 25 years and getting to the sweet spot. Right. And then the last part of my act is about my father, who was my inspiration for everything.
Give me a couple of bits from the new routine that's out there, because I know the one thing about Pittsburghers, listen, the one thing we don't get enough credit for, yes, it's hard work, yes, it's grit, but we have some creativity about us too.
We absolutely do. I mean, look, we produced Mr. Rogers and Andy Warhol. If that doesn't cover the entire spectrum, I don't know what does.
Your new stand-up, give me a couple.
Well, but the stuff, like I said, I've been working on now is I talk about these kids and I root for them. But the thing I love talking about is making it through 25 years of marriage.
Right.
And I tell young kids, I go, they lie to you about love. They tell you it's supposed to be this mystical thing where you meet a partner who never gets on your nerves. They always understand what you want to do. I go, that's a lie. I go, and stay away from old couples that lie to you. You ever run into that couple? It's like, we've been married 60 years and we've never said a bad thing to each other. I hope you die in a forest fire. You're lying to the children. Let me tell you something. You're not married until at some point one of you has been in the driveway going, and I'm never coming home. And right after you do that, you go, I left my keys in the house. God. You have to keep forgiving each other and keep moving forward. And that's the thing that I talk about.
You know what? And again, I go back to the same thing. That is a Pittsburgh thing, because you know what? It is about family. It's having those uncomfortable conversations. Because the one thing about a Pittsburgher, they'll tell you how they feel, whether you like it or not.
Don't ask.
Hey, we just go right to it.
But you know what's beautiful about the humor in our city, Coach? And this is what I've always held on to. You know, our humor is very, very distinct, but it's not cruel.
No, it's not.
Our humor, we can right size you, but there's some love underneath the sentence, so it doesn't hurt. And to me, those are the funniest guys. I'll give you one more. My old man used to do this to me all the time. At the height of Mike and Molly, we went, he retired down to Orlando, got his dream house, right? Worked his whole life, got his dream house, got 2 bedrooms and a pool. Oh. So we're down there one time, we're visiting right after he retires. And, he felt his job as a Pittsburgher to make sure my head stayed the right size. So he goes, hey, Bill, do me a favor, take the trash out. Well, it's my pop, I'm going to take the trash out, right? So I'm tying up the bag. I get about halfway out to the sidewalk, and he yells across the street to his neighbor, hey, John, look at a big TV star taking out my garbage. Now, see, he ain't hurting nobody. He's just saying, stay humble, son. Stay humble.
Hey, so I got to give you one father story since you gave yours.
Yeah, please.
So in 1992, we go to the playoffs, my first year, right? And so Neil O'Donnell got hurt. Bubby Brister came in. So I was playing Bubby Brister. But Neil O'Donnell, I thought, should not lose his job to injury, so I put him back in for the playoff game. He hadn't played in over a month. Probably shouldn't have done so. I probably should have let Bubby continue because he had been playing. We lose a game to the Buffalo Bills. The next week I go over to Crafton. My father's in there, and my brothers are there. My wife's and kids are there. My dad's over there drinking an Iron City beer. And all of a sudden he's had his second beer. I saw he popped. He goes, how about them Steelers? How dumb of them to sit there and put Neil O'Donnell back into the game. He hadn't played over a month. I go, Dad, that wasn't them. That was me, your son, that made that decision. And here's what he says. You probably had a good reason. I'm going like, you want to know? He just moved on. He goes, you probably had a good reason. Wouldn't even give me a chance to answer myself. I said, okay, I guess I didn't do the right thing.
You didn't do the right thing. And they will let you know, boy. They will let you know.
But he said, you'll learn from that. Like,
you'll
get
them next time.
Thanks, Dad.
You'll get them next time. That's
exactly right. But you know what you always
right.
find yourself doing? I wanted to make him proud.
That's
I never wanted to let him down.
That's it. No, me either. You know what I learned too with my dad, man? And that's that family Pittsburgh thing you talk about. When my father told me that I could do this for a living if I put the work in, I didn't ask nobody else because nobody else's opinion mattered more. So once I got his okay, that's it. Let's play ball.
You never forget where you came from. And
we don't.
And we don't. And I said the moments that you sit there and wonder what you're going to do next, you go back and just say, just do something and just do the right thing.
There it is.
Just do the right thing. Mr. Rooney used to always say to me, which is, you'll love this. And so I'd be in there saying, listen, I'm thinking about benching Cordell. I'm not so sure I'm going to put him in. Should I do Mike Tomczak? And Ben is not playing well. I think I may have to pull back the reins a little bit. And he'd start to walk out and he'd go, Coach, just do the right thing. I'm going like, well, that didn't help much. I guess might go back. I go, just don't be a jag-off, okay?
But that's the number one baseline. I think more people need. I always tell my son, when you walk out that door, it's Los Angeles, but when you come in this house, it's Pittsburgh.
Let's make sure we stay in touch, please.
I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. I got to tell you one more quick story because this was the best for my first terrible towel thing. I was so honored. Okay, you're down there. It's Bettis, the gang, the whole, we got that wonderfully violent defense that just chokes you out. And by the way, I wish we would get a big pig running back again because there was nothing more relaxing than when we had 4 minutes left and you saw Bettis come trotting out. They were going to be suffocated.
And you know who loved that more than anything?
I need that.
You know who loved that more than anything? The defense. Casey, Casey goes, Coach, it's about time to ride the bus. I go, yep, we're almost there.
Bring him out of the garage and let's grind him down and watch it drain. And it was beautiful because they knew what we were going to do. We knew what we were going to do, and you couldn't stop it anyway, and that was a gift. Right. But when I'm in that Jets game, right, I'm getting to do the terrible towel, right? So I'm standing there, it's probably like 13 degrees that night. I don't know what, it's freezing. And I got a trench coat on with my Lambert jersey underneath it. And I got my buddies from Swissville because John Waterick and Jim Rooney, they were nice enough to let me and my hoodlum friends down on the sideline while I'm doing this, right? So and they're jagging me. They're going, listen, the linemen don't have any long sleeves on. You can't do the terrible towel twirl with a coat on. And now I'm like getting that Swissville, you're right. I got to take my coat off.
Get that thing off, man.
I take the coat off. Now I'm bare-armed. It's 13 degrees. I go out. I do the towel. I scream. My voice is gone in about 12 seconds. So that after we win that game, it's just one of those Steeler games where you just need to go to the ER to relax after it's over. We have so many of them. So the next morning I fly back to California and I'm getting sick on the flight, right? So then I go over to the studio and we're going to start rehearsing for Mike and Molly. And I'm trying to fake it. I got 102 fever. My voice sounds like this, but I'm acting like nothing's wrong at the table read, right? So we get halfway through the table read and Chuck Lorre stands up and goes, okay, everybody, Billy's obviously sick. So we're going to cancel this week's episode. We're going to push it to one of the weeks that we had a down week, and we'll reshuffle the deck. And I thought, oh my God, I'm in so much trouble. I canceled this whole thing because I was at the Jets Steelers. And Chuck Lorre walked over, patted me on the shoulder, and he goes, "No more playoff games, okay?" I said,
Gotcha.
I went home and ate some chicken soup. Exactly. So, but it's an honor, man. I love you to death. I can't thank you for the kindness over the years. I can't thank you for the inspiration. You are a true Pittsburgher.
Yeah.
You are a high watermark, man. You're a high watermark.
You're very kind to say that, but just know
Truthfully.
that you also are such an inspiration just for everything you went through, chasing your dream, chasing your passion, not to be deterred along the way, dealing with all the things that can go with that, the tough times, and just taking it head on. And
so what now what, brother?
You know
so what now what?
So what now what? And I tell you what, your father definitely sounds like a Pittsburgher through and through.
100.
And you are the absolute best. Love you, man.
Back at you, brother. I love you too. Thank you for your time on this. I appreciate you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
I know it's early in the morning, but it's time to go.
How
to
many
work.
people get
You
to
only say
have one
what's
of their
working,
heroes
it's measured.
send them a personal message to inspire them? And I'm humbled by it, and I'm honored, and I'm so grateful that I know Bill, and that his warmth comes through, and it's so authentic. And this meant the world to me. It got me moving.
And you know what? If you feel like you can't do it, don't be a jagoff. Don't be a jagoff. Okay? Do it. All right, brother. I love you.
Sound still speeding? Still speeding. All right, coach, you're talking to me. And go.
Yeah, so
Look, I got Slippy, Gum Band, Spigot. I got them all on there. I got them all on there.
Don't be a jagoff. Don't be a jagoff.
right.